Openness, opportunity, innovation. Those are the three key words that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave during his speech at the World Expo in Dubai in October of 2021. And the idea here was to invite people from around the world to invest in India. And by all accounts, India is a very innovative and exciting place to be right now, with the growth that we're seeing in fintech and digital payments, EVs, edtech, SaaS, and so much more. But take a look at this. This is Crypto Expo Dubai. It happened in October of 2021 too, the same month that India's PM visited Dubai, and it was attended by a lot of Indian crypto entrepreneurs during a time when there was plenty of uncertainty in India's own crypto market. There had been a crypto ban in 2018, and even after that ban was overturned, Indian crypto was in a gray zone. Its future was uncertain. That wasn't the case though in Dubai in 2021. They were showcasing innovation and openness in the crypto space. Indian entrepreneurs started to wonder if the opportunity for crypto entrepreneurs based in Dubai was larger than the opportunity in India. But some people were on the fence. They were holding out hope that India's upcoming crypto bill would pave the way for India to become a serious player in the global virtual asset market. Then though, in February of 2022, the government of India announced this. A 30% tax that would be applied to the sale of virtual assets like cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And then again in March of 2022, the Prime Minister of the UAE tweeted this. He had officially approved the Dubai Virtual Asset Regulation Law with the goal of establishing the UAE as a key player in designing the future of virtual assets globally. Indian crypto entrepreneurs started packing their bags. WazirX's co-founders Nishal Shetty and Siddharth Menon have both relocated their families now to Dubai, and the same thing with Jayanti Kanani. He and his wife and his daughter are living in Dubai now too. So what we're seeing here, of course, is brain drain. We're seeing the smartest minds in India's crypto space packing their bags. They're relocating themselves, their families, their registered companies, sometimes their offices to other countries. And so in this video, we're gonna be unpacking the why. Why is this happening? How did things get to this point? And is there a possibility of reversing this trend? Coming up right after this. Okay, so first of all, a couple of fundamentals. What is Web3? What is cryptocurrency? How do we define these things? Well, for Web3, the easiest definition that I can give to you guys is that it's the next generation of the internet. Now, some people would disagree with that. Some people don't even believe that Web3 exists, that it's just a superficial layer being built on top of Web2, but let's just say for the sake of explanation that it does exist and that Web3 is real. So Web2 then would be this current generation of the internet, which proponents of Web3 would say that we're moving out of. Web2 is a generation defined by personal data being stored by companies that own the places that we visit online. For example, Meta has your data because of Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. Elon Musk has your data because of Twitter. ByteDance has your data because of TikTok. So then Web3 is a response to this problem. It's a generation of decentralization, of taking data out of the hands of companies and spreading it out across peer-to-peer networks, blockchains. And cryptocurrencies are the incentive here. They're the reason that people maintain these blockchains. This isn't volunteer work. Validator nodes in proof of stake and miners in proof of work are generating wealth for themselves in the form of cryptocurrency. Now, if you're not actively involved in the world of cryptocurrency yourself, then all of this is probably sounding very new, very weird. It's difficult to wrap your mind around, right? You're picturing someone sitting in their bedroom getting rich while their computer is mining blocks of a blockchain, or they're staking their cryptocurrency and getting rewarded. It sounds ridiculous, right? And this is why, for a long time, the global crypto community consisted almost exclusively of nerds. People thought that it was just a bunch of geeks buying pizza with make-believe money on the internet. But of course, now that sentiment has almost completely disappeared. You've got the Los Angeles Staples Center being renamed to Crypto.com Arena. You've got El Salvador as the first country to announce Bitcoin as legal tender, for better or for worse. You've got the government of Ukraine raising over $100 million in cryptocurrencies for their war relief fund. So crypto isn't just a geeky hobby anymore. It's not something that the world can really afford to continue ignoring. It's here, and it's very likely here to stay, which is why governments now around the world are spending time and resources to draft laws regulating cryptocurrency. And the government of India is one of them. So let's talk about that. Back in 2017, for the first time ever, Indian authorities started cracking down on Indian crypto exchanges and investors. If you want to pinpoint the beginning of the brain drain that's happened in India's crypto space, if you want a day zero, then December of 2017 is a very worthy candidate, because that's when India's income tax department raided as many as 9 crypto exchanges across the country, and 500,000 Bitcoin investors were put under investigation. Now, I know that sounds very serious, that they were put under investigation. This is a big deal. Really though, what this means is just that the income tax department wanted to see if they needed to pay capital gains tax on their Bitcoin returns. Then though, the following year in April of 2018, the RBI banned all regulated Indian banks from holding or facilitating cryptocurrency transactions. And for nearly 2 years, this ban would remain active, resulting in the second wave of brain drain in India's crypto space. ZebPay, India's oldest crypto exchange, and Vauld left India for Singapore in 2018. And then the following year in 2019, CoinDCX, which had been registered in India since January of 2018, registered a Singapore entity. And Matic Network, a hugely popular layer 2 scaling solution built on Ethereum, now called Polygon, left India and moved to Dubai as well. Now, in 2020, the RBI's ban was overturned by the Supreme Court of India, but this arguably left Indian crypto in an even more tenuous position. See, when the ban was active, everybody understood that crypto in India was a no-go, but the ban being overturned didn't necessarily make crypto legal. It was a gray zone, and this state of limbo persists to this day. But that hasn't stopped Indian traders and entrepreneurs from adopting and building for crypto. And what these people have been asking for since the ban was overturned is clarity. They want fixed policies. They want laws. They want to know if building for crypto in India is a waste of time or whether they should carry on. And in early 2022, they got a half answer. It wasn't the crypto bill that they'd been waiting for, but it was the government of India recognizing crypto and virtual assets in general as a taxable asset class. So during the 2022 union budget, India's finance minister announced that the government would be levying a 30% tax on any income generated from the transaction of virtual assets, including cryptocurrencies and NFTs. A second tax of 1% at source, that's TDS, was also imposed. And the interesting thing here is that this new taxable asset class doesn't benefit from losses being offset against profits. In other words, it doesn't matter how much money you lose. You're still gonna have to pay that 30% tax on virtual asset profits. So what you have here is essentially a very bad situation for crypto entrepreneurs and investors. You've got the government of India imposing hefty taxes on something that isn't even technically legal yet. And crypto entrepreneurs and investors alike have responded to this. After the new tax laws came into effect on April 1st of 2022, crypto trading volume in India fell by 55% in the first 2 days. These new tax laws were shaking up India's crypto market, and startups began responding right away, with MobiKwik being one of the first. They had been offering UPI digital payments to crypto traders and exchanges, but soon after these tax laws came into effect, they stopped offering this service. In spite of this though, the RBI has decided to reject the payment aggregator license of ZebPay, MobiKwik's payment gateway service, and this may have something to do with their previous involvement in the crypto space. Then, on the 4th of April, Coinbase announced their plans to come to India and said that they tied up with the NPCI to offer UPI as a mode of payment for Indian traders. In a statement though, the NPCI said that they weren't aware of any crypto exchanges that were using UPI as a mode of payment. Now, contrary to this statement, there were actually a couple of Indian crypto exchanges that were allowing Indian crypto traders to transact using UPI. So perhaps the NPCI just wasn't aware of these. There was CoinDCX, CoinSwitchKuber, UnoCoin, and for a couple of days, Coinbase, which of course is not Indian, but they were for a couple of days allowing Indian traders to use UPI to transact. However, this would all come to a rather dramatic end thanks to the NPCI statement, which scared banks and financial institutions into blocking crypto transactions through most modes of payment, including UPI, NEFT, RTGS, and IMPS. Suddenly, Indian crypto traders couldn't use crypto exchanges. Their money was stuck because their banks were responding to this ambiguous yet evidently ominous NPCI statement. By the end of the second week of April, trading volume was down between 70 and 90% across India's entire crypto market. Crypto is volatile. It's a wild market to invest in and to build for, and that's in countries with clear regulations and policies. But in an environment like this, where banks will block transactions at the drop of a hat, keeping a crypto business afloat is almost untenable. But unlike in other startup markets, crypto startups don't just shut down. Crypto is decentralized. If anybody's building in India, it's because they're making a conscious effort to. They're doing it on principle, not because they have to. Ultimately though, what it looks like we're seeing here is a sort of tipping point where a lot of Indian entrepreneurs have finally had enough. The grass is just so much greener on the other side. So let's take a look at those two sides. On the one side, we have India, and on the other side, we have Dubai. In India, there's a 30% tax, plus that 1% TDS. In Dubai, though, other than a general 5% value-added tax, there's no income tax. And because virtual assets are just a form of income, and because income isn't taxed in Dubai, any gains that you make from selling virtual assets like crypto or NFTs are yours, and yours alone. In India, you're also in a gray zone if you choose to invest in or build for crypto. The entire ecosystem, India's whole crypto market, is built on an unstable foundation, and massive sweeping changes can take place in a matter of hours. One new law, a new bill, a statement from the NPCI, a lot of things can cause a collapse in India. In Dubai, though, things are clear thanks to the Dubai Virtual Asset Regulation Law. Virtual assets are officially designated as legal, and the Dubai Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, or VARA, is in charge of regulating and supervising virtual assets. And they're also the middleman between these assets and other federal agencies like the central bank, the government, and legal authorities. So, people are moving to Dubai. Bank accounts are frozen. Notices are served by separate departments of the government. No support is given if you ask for clarity. The builders then start wondering if it's really worth the hassle. We then move where we are welcome, supported, and given benefits to build. That was an anonymous Indian Web3 entrepreneur who spoke to Money Control. And an Indian Web3 investor also spoke to them again anonymously, and they said that in the Web3 world as an entrepreneur, you don't even know what is fine with the government and what is not. You don't know if you can use a certain protocol, launch coins, securities around NFTs, you just don't know. Then you need to go somewhere else where you have clarity on what is legal to build and what is not. Now, at this point in the video, I think it's a good time for me to mention if you're an Indian Web3 entrepreneur thinking about moving to Dubai, or a Web3 entrepreneur in general, doesn't matter where you live in the world, that while Dubai does have some very forward-thinking virtual asset laws, Dubai and the UAE in general, in a lot of other ways, are far less forward-thinking. For example, modern-day slavery has been extensively documented in the UAE. It's one of the key ways that they've been able to build these impressive skyscraper cities in the middle of the desert. Expats come to the UAE hoping to make more money so that they can send it back to their families, and a lot of them are from India. But they end up taking on debt for their travel and visa expenses, and sometimes their employers will take their passports too, which means that they can't even leave the country if they want to. You should also probably think twice about visiting or moving to Dubai if you're a member of the LGBTQ community, as many aspects of LGBTQ life are considered illegal in the UAE, and there are some strict punishments for these things, with the strictest, of course, being capital punishment. So Dubai and the UAE have a dark side. It's not the perfect paradise that a lot of people think that it is, and I want to be absolutely clear about that so that people watching this video don't get the wrong idea. Now, coming back to brain drain, how is this going to affect India? Well, it really depends on where crypto goes in the future. Full disclosure here, this is going to be pure speculation, but I think that we can imagine a best case scenario for India in the future when it comes to crypto, as well as a worst case scenario. So the best case scenario would be that Web3 is just a fad, that crypto ends up being a distant memory someday, and all of the crypto startups that have relocated outside of India just go out of business. In this scenario, things would more or less stay the same for India. It wouldn't get left behind on the global stage when it comes to crypto because crypto just doesn't take off, it fizzles out. Now, the worst case scenario would be that crypto keeps growing and that this growth accelerates, making it difficult to transact in this global society that we live in without it. In such a scenario, India's growth and development in the crypto space will have been stunted. Its brightest minds will be building their lives and their companies abroad in Dubai and Singapore. And in this scenario, VCs may not feel secure making investments into future India-based crypto startups either, at least not until clear policies, guidelines, and laws are in place. A comparison would be the way that some investors today feel about startups that are based in Tier 3 or Tier 4 cities. They'll tell these startups that they need to shift their headquarters to one of the metros, and then they'll think about investing. In the same way, VCs might tell Indian crypto startups to move to Dubai or Singapore before they'll invest. And a lot of this venture capital will inevitably end up being poured into things like hiring and paying employees' salaries. And if those people are employed outside of India, then this is a missed opportunity to further India's economy. Now, I am pleased to say that that's not currently what's happening. A lot of these startups that have relocated to Dubai or Singapore and have their companies now registered in those companies do have offices over there, but still a large majority of their employees are based in India. And my hope is that this continues to be the case. In September of 2021, WazirX and NASSCOM had published a report predicting that India will have 800,000 employees in the crypto space by 2030. And so even if these companies' revenue isn't being taxed by the government of India, and even if the venture capital that these companies are raising isn't being raised in India, and even if these crypto startups are registered outside of India, I do hope that these companies will continue to benefit India and that they'll give back to the country in which they began. And who knows, the government of India's crypto bill is still in the works, so anything could happen. These tax laws, the 30% virtual asset tax and the 1% TDS, were heavy-handed and did have a negative impact on trading volume and the sentiment amongst investors and founders. But there's still time to fix this situation, to release a bill that encourages innovation, that facilitates openness both for local startup founders and investors, and also international players who will see India as an opportunity. This bill is important. It's a make or break moment because a lot of the Indian Web3 entrepreneurs that have left India for Dubai or Singapore would love to come back home, if it makes sense to come back home, if building their Web3 business in India is tenable. Here's another anonymous Web3 entrepreneur that spoke to Money Control. If given a choice, we would not have moved out. So if the regulation is in favor of the industry, we will always build for India. So as always, I'd love to get your thoughts in a comment down below on this video, on what you think the future of crypto in India is, and also your thoughts on this trend of Indian entrepreneurs leaving India to go build their Web3 startups in Dubai and Singapore. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Backstage with Millionaires, and I will see you in the next one.